Now the dental history is very important. Now in dental history you need to have an external examination, the intraoral examination, the anatomical considerations, and the periodontal evaluation of the patient and the parafunctional habits. You need to see all these things in the patient once you are doing the implant. The external examination, the important thing, I will discuss only the important things for the implant placement, like the lip line, the resting lip line of the patient, the facial asymmetry, the facial forms of the patient, and the gingival line or gummy smile of the patient. Now these things are very important once you are placing the implant, because you are giving the restoration as well. Now in the intraoral examination, you need to see the access of the patient. If there is a less access or the mouth opening is very small, you are not being able to place the drills in the implant, then it's going to be very difficult to do the prosthetic part in that patient. So you need to see any pathology, gingival growth or something like that. You need to see that. You need to see the crown as well, the existing crown and the crown which you are going to give to the patient in the future. You need to see this as well. So you can see in this patient, the restoration was not good. The aesthetic outcome is not good to the patient. Periodontal condition should be considered once you are doing the implant in the patients. Gingival phenotype is very important once you are doing the implants, like thick phenotype or a thin phenotype. It's very difficult to raise the thick phenotype, but they are very good in recessions. And the thin phenotypes are very easily recessible. So once you are doing it to the patient, you need to understand which type of gingival growth phenotype is present in the patient. Quality of the soft tissue is very important. You need to see the patient having any infection, any inflammation there, any growth. The bone volume is very important. Now it can be a horizontal bone loss or a vertical bone loss. You need to see the patient on radiograph, on the cast model as well, and clinically as well, that this patient is having a horizontal bone loss or a vertical bone loss. So these are the rich deficiencies, age 1, class 2 and class 3. You need to see the proximal active vital anatomical structures as well, like the inferior nerve, the mental nerve, maxillary sinus, nasal floor. You need to see on the radiographs to identify which implant are you placing and where you are placing the implant. Now, this slide is very important once you are doing it, the implant. The implant to implant distance should be 3 mm, and implant to bone distance, implant to tooth distance should be 1.5 mm. Minimum, this is the minimum distance you need to acquire in your patient, like 1.5 mm from the normal tooth, and implant to implant distance around 3 mm from the implant to implant. And for the restoration, you need at least 5 mm of the abutment should be in the oral cavity for a cement retained restoration. And for a screw retained restoration, you need 2 to 3 mm of the abutment should be in the oral cavity. Now for the gingival height, you need to have a 2 to 3 mm, the abutment should be in the gingival height, like 2 mm in the junctional epithelium and 1 mm should be in the submarginal. So you need to have a 3 mm at that area and 5 mm in the oral cavity. So you need to have an 8 mm abutment with 3 mm collar and a 5 mm height of the abutment. For example, if you are placing an implant of 4 mm width in the patient, you need to divide the implant into 2, like 4 divided by 2 becomes 2, and you add 1.5 mm from the adjacent tooth, that makes 3.5. So your first range should be at 3.5 and you end up in the center of the range if you are doing an implant in that area. So these two implants are very in close proximities, so their result, their outcome is unfavorable. You can see here, both of the implants are very close to each other, and when you put the patient coping here, they place the restoration as well, but the outcome of the restoration, but the restoration outcome is not good. You can see here in this patient as well. These are the risk factors which I already told you, already discussed with you, the smoking and the other things you should keep in your mind once you are doing the implant placement. These are the risk factors for the edentulous patient. You need to assess the cast as well. The cast assessment is very important. We usually do not do the CAS assessment in our clinic practice. This is very important. You need to see the CAS assessment as well. So you need to see the width relationship, the intra-arch relationship, the space available, the opposing condition, the occlusion, the clearance of the occlusion, how much space is available. Now this is very important once you are doing the cast analysis and for the stunt making as well. The surgical guidance, you may make an implant stunt as well to make a surgical guide as well. Nowadays we are using it like this stereotographic model type for edentulous patient and for multiple teeth placement as well. So you can have this stereotographic virtual planning as well. So you can have a rapid prototyping, so you make a 3D stereotographic models and you place it with the build guide as well in it. So every implant should be in the proper position. The radiographs are very important once you are doing it. There are the multiple radiographs you can do for the patients like the periapical occlusal panoramic. Dr. Abdullah is going to talk about the CBCT, so I am not going in detail of the radiographs. These are the recommended radiographs for the standard techniques for the patients. Now this is the case. You can see there is a space in the lower left side of the 6, but the 7 is being tilted. So you need to understand what anatomical structures are there. So there is an inferior nerve is running down and you need to understand the occlusion, how much crown you are going to place it, how much space do you have in this patient once you are planning for the implant. The implant is being, drill is being done for the implant. This is the parallel pin is being placed for the parallelism of the future abutment of the patient. Now this is the abutment is being placed, future is being placed and the implant. This is the post-op radiograph. You can see it is in the center of the ridge and this is in the bone level as well. This is another in the case of immediate implant placement. That was not the immediate implant. Now for the lower right side of this 7, you can see the grossly carious tooth. Once you are planning for the immediate implant placement, kept in mind that there should be no periapical pathology and there should be an atraumatic extraction once you are doing it. Always do go for atomic extraction. Whenever there is a buccal bone loss or the lingual bone loss, do not place the implant. They are very least chances to become successful. So always wait for the bone to grow up or make a bone graft there and then wait for the 6 months, then place the implant. So the important thing is the atraumatic extraction and there should be no periapical pathology in that patient. So you can see here in this tooth, or you can use any of the root in this patient, the mesial root or the distal root. The best part is to place the implant in the center of that root, is the best part. If you are able to place it in the center, then it is going to be a good implant. So you can see here the tooth is being extracted and we decided to place it in the center. So parallel pin is being placed here. You can see here the carrier is being placed and the implant is being placed. One important thing in this step is for the socket implants, it should be submerged 2 mm. So once the socket is being healed, it is up to the bone level. If you place it at the bone level right now at the start of the extraction, then when the socket heals, it goes down. So there will be a 2 mm exposure of the crown. So at least you have to place it, submerge it 2 mm below the socket. And one thing is this, you need to take a stability of that implant. So you take it stability from the apical direction or you take it from the buccal or the lingual side, from the mesial width as well. So implant is being placed, which is being placed. So this is the another case for the anterior zone. You can see here this tooth was extracted and the implant is being placed. This carrier is being placed on the implant and this implant, you can see the radiograph, it is at the below the bone level. This is another case of lower right 7 is missing of that patient, but the assessment was that this patient is having the upper 7 and 8 are supraerupted. So there was a less space available for the crown. So we told the patient that you might have got to the RCT of the upper 7 and upper 7. So he was not opting that option. So he wants that you place the crown and the implant as well. So we decided to go with the patient. So we placed the implant. You can see the parallelism. You can see the implant is being placed here at the bone level. For the socket, it should be 2 mm below, and for the normal implant, it should be the bone level. You can see the healing cap and the crown as well, and the level of the crown you can see. The crown is very down because of the supraeruption of the 7. This is another case, anterior zone. The implant is being placed. For anterior aesthetic zone, once you are going with the drilling, initial drilling, you need to go slightly palatally so that the implant should be stable. If you're going towards on the buccal side, on the labial side, then it's going to perforate the labial or the buccal bone or the labial bone. So you need to place your drill slightly towards the lateral side. So this implant is being placed, and healing cap and covering screw is being placed there. Healing cap was placed there, and this is the final restoration was given to the patient. An hour of planning can save our time up to 10 hours of doing it. Now this is another case. This is a very interesting case done by a general dentist. A patient went to that dentist and he decided to pull up this 6 as well and place the 2 implants. She went for the RCT of that 6. She went for the bridge. The dentist decided that you need to extract that 6 as well, and you need to place 2 implants there. And the 7 needs the RCT. And he opened up the chamber of the 7, and 6 he pulled out and he placed the immediate implant. You can see both of the implants are on the nerve. And during the drilling, he might go into the canal. Because the patient was telling us that when he started drilling, there was a bleeding. So once you are in the canal, there will be a bleeding. So you can see in this radiograph, both implants are on the nerve. And the patient was continuously saying that I am having a continuous severe pain and the paresthesia. She was unable to feel anything on the lower side of that right side lip. There was a complete paresthesia of that side. We took the CBCT, and then patient went again to that dentist, and he decided to reposition the implant. So he repositioned the implant and asked the patient, कोई मसला नहीं है, अब सब ठीक हो गया. Patient को फिर then patient is still having the pain after 1 week. The patient is still having the severe pain and the paresthesia was still there. And the patient then referred to me. I saw that CBCT. We decided to pull up this implant out, and we removed that implant. Then the patient is not feeling any pain, and the paresthesia is improving now. Planning, precision, and continuous learning are the pillars for successful implant procedures. Master of the art and elevate the practice. Plan so you can avoid such blunders. Thank you so much.